Hello there, my name is Arjuna Ardagh, and I want to talk to you today a little bit about, I think, perhaps the most ecstatic, fulfilling, incredible, possible thing we could talk about. And no, it's not sex. I knew you were thinking that. No, I wanted to talk about creativity. Particularly in the context of awakening coaching, which is the method that I've created over the last 20-something years, 23 years. You know, most of the people I meet with and work with around the world are interested in awakening. And let me briefly explain what we mean by that word. Awakening simply means the recognition of who you really are. The recognition, in other words, of who it is or what it is that is experiencing this moment. Most of the time, most human beings get kind of glued to the content of their experience. So when thoughts pass, when reactive feelings pass, when body sensations are happening, we actually identify with and become those fleeting sensations. Awakening means to recognize experientially who it is or what it is who is experiencing these things changing. Awakening means to recognize who you truly are. And when we ask millions of people these days what they discover, they discover that whatever it is that's experiencing this moment is awake, is free, has no limits, no boundaries. It was never born. It could never die. It makes no sound. It is silent even though it hears all sound. It is that which is aware of all of this. Now, to touch into your true nature in this way, whether for a split second or for a more sustained abiding, is incredibly fulfilling. It's like a great relief. It's the great relief. Because especially if we've spent a lot of our lives yearning to come home, feeling disconnected from ourselves, wondering who we are and what's going on, it's an incredible rush of relief to relax into being limitless, to relax into being that which is missing nothing, which is in no way wounded, which is connected with everything else. And there is at the beginning the feeling of, I'm home. There's nothing more to do. There's nothing more to discover. I'm free. I'm home. And to rest as this forever. And in a way, it's true. From the perspective of the identity of being a seeker, it's true. It's the end of the story. It's the end of seeking. There's nothing missing from there forward. And in fact, in many cultures, in many traditions, it has been perceived as the end of the story. And so it's called enlightenment, that your life is kind of growing towards that, and then boom, the ego is obliterated, there's no more personal reference, and there's just homogeneous sort of awakened goo from that moment forward. And so the end of the story. And so we have many pictures and examples from different traditions where after awakening, there's just sort of empty stare, and nothing more ever happens after that. Now, it's interesting because these days, all over the world, in different cultures from different backgrounds, many people are having sustained moments of awakening, but they're not monks or nuns, they're not recluses, they're not people sitting half naked, staring or with their eyes closed. These people who are having awakening these days are very much involved in life. They have sexuality, they have children, they have their parents, they have their work, they want to make a difference, they're concerned about the world. So they are experiencing awakening, but also a passion, a calling to live that awakening in every aspect of life. And so when we feel this calling, this inspiration to live awakening, a moment of recognition is not actually the end of the story. It's the end of the story relevant to seeking. It's the beginning of the story relevant to living it. So the question then is, what is life like after recognizing your true nature? It's not really going to be about trying to get loads of money, because you know that who you are is much deeper and richer and vaster and more gorgeous than money. It's not going to be about accumulating things, because you are the source of everything. It's not going to be about getting love from somebody else, because you are love itself. So what is the nature of life after this recognition? And having interviewed hundreds and hundreds of people in depth about this, having referenced my own life in the last few decades, in the last couple of decades after this kind of shift, having really investigated this with thousands and thousands of people all over the world in workshops and trainings, I've realized that what follows awakening, what follows this transition, is the possibility of being the conduit for original sparks of creativity to flow from that limitless source, your true nature, into life. You become like a hollow bamboo on which the unknown can play its tune. You become a flute on which that which has no name and form can play. And I'm reminded, of many great, amazing people who I've come to know, been very lucky to come to know in this life, whose awakening has blossomed into this kind of creativity. I think, for example, of John Gray, who wrote Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, but has done a gazillion other things as well. All this began with 10 years living in Switzerland in a meditation center, just dissolving into awakening. And then when he returned to America and to the need to do things for various reasons, incredible current of creativity overflowing. Leonard Cohen, who I've been very fortunate to get to know a little bit, who was very depressed, as you know, and his creativity was coming more from a sort of tortured place for a long time, then went to Mount Baldy in a Zen monastery outside of Los Angeles, went into deep meditation for many years as a monk, and came out with this incredible album, 10 New Songs. Came out in 2002, a little more than 10 years ago now. But this gorgeous album was the overflow of his connection to something eternal within himself, to the recognition of his true nature. We can think of Alan Ball, who wrote American Beauty and 6 Feet Under. We can think of endless people today. Lynne Twist, who has raised more than $2 billion to alleviate world hunger. The list goes on and on. Your very nature in the light of awakening becomes a creative conduit. Creativity may mean planting a beautiful garden. Creativity may mean making music. It may mean writing books, like my new novel, The Last Laugh, which just came out from Hay House. It may mean many things. In my opinion, truly happy, fulfilled people, truly ecstatic people, have access to their true nature as awakening, yes, but that's just the beginning of it. Their true fulfillment, their ecstatic enjoyment, and their knowing, deep knowing of why they're here on the planet comes through creative flow. On May 11th, I'm going to start a 21-day intensive for people who want to go more deeply into creative flow with me. We're going to meet every week for a gathering, a global gathering over the phone and Skype. And you'll also have access to a website we've created, a members area website where there's going to be video and audio interviews with some of the most creative people on the planet, a lot of written material, exercises you can do. Connecting with the source of creative flow is relatively easy. Awakening these days is not difficult. Unblocking the conduit so that that source of creativity can flow into acts of inspired contribution, that requires a little tweaking And I hope you'll join me for 21 days of very precise and effective tweaking so that we can all become available to give the gift that we were born to give in this lifetime.